Hi everybody, Cindy the Scrapologist here. I hope that this video finds you all well. Thank you for coming back to my channel. I appreciate it very much. I'm just sitting here. I was experimenting with some weaving of book pages this morning and I'm liking the way it turned out, so I thought I would share it with you all. I've been making tags and weaving sentences from book pages. This one I decorated and just put a little embellishment and a piece of muslin up here. And they're really simple to make, and I like the way they look as for tags. So I'm just going to show you my process here. There might be a better way to do it, but this is the process that I figured out. You don't need much in the way of supplies. I have a glue stick. um, for some reason, nothing but the extra strength glue stick has been working for me. The regular glue sticks aren't working. I know a lot of people use the Oohoo stick. I've never been able to get my hands on any around here where I live. I'll have to try to buy some online because I know a lot of people really like those. So whatever doesn't even have to be a glue stick, whatever adhesive you want to use. I have to tell you a funny story. The other day, I was using one of those little skinny glue sticks, and I keep them up in a drawer up here. And I was watching a class online to maintain my music therapy certification. So I wasn't really paying attention. I was just kind of gluing and watching the class while I reached up to get another glue stick, and I started doing this all over my project. It was my chapstick. And I just smushed my chapstick all over, and I was like, why is this glue stick so greasy and soft? It was my chapstick. Oh, anyway. Okay, so you need a glue stick, not chapstick, a pair of scissors, and just two book pages. So this one I did 2 pages out of the same book, and it's kind of a monochromatic look to it. But this one was my second one. Well, no, this one was my second one. And I used two different books. You can see the whiter one is a newer book that I got from a thrift store, as opposed to this browner one, which is a book from the 1700s. Very, very old, maybe early 1800s. Yeah, early 1800s. And so it has a browner patina to it. And I decided that I really like the contrast of the two different colors of pages as opposed to this. It just looks, you can just see it better. So, so I have an older book page, and then I'm going to, excuse me, pull something out of a newer book. With your older book page, just make sure it's not brittle. As long as you can still curl it like this without it cracking and breaking off in your hands, then it's good to go. I have a lot of book pages that are just so brittle. All I can do is use them for collages. I can't do anything else with them. This is a newer book that I bought from the bookstore so that I could cut out different sayings for my projects. As you can see, I found a lot of them in this book that I liked. I'll just cut out a phrase and glue them onto my project. So I'm just going to pull a page out of here. There's one. Okay, so you can see the contrast between the two. I like that. All right. Oh, and you also need a piece of cardstock. The the wider your page, actually the wider the text on the page, the wider your tag can be. This is a very small book page, and this one's even smaller. This one, the text itself only measures 3.5 inches wide. So that's going to be the length of my cardstock. So let me cut that down to 3.5 inches. Okay, so you want to take your cardstock and whatever page you want, whatever book page, sorry, that you want on the bottom, which for me is this, you want to measure it this way Okay, and so that's going to be, so my, excuse me, let me get a drink here. I brought up the big one, the Big Daddy. Okay, excuse me. So whatever is the width of your text, that's going to be the width of your tag. And then whatever length you like, just I prefer a triangle. I felt this one was a little short and fat, and I wish I'd cut it down just a little bit. I just prefer a different proportion. So mine's going to be 3.5 by 2.5. Okay. So then all you're going to do is put your cardstock at the bottom here. Just place it wherever you think you want it. And draw a little line around 3 sides. You are going to need to keep this section here, this whiter section. You can cut this one off, but you need this. So you're going to cut it. You're going to cut it like this because you need something to hold your strips together until you're ready to cut them apart. Okay, so I'm going to cut like this. Okay, so see how I left the white part at the top? Then what you're going to do, and by the way, the bigger your print and the farther apart your sentences are, like if you had a true 1 space or 1.5 space in between your sentences, the easier this is. But in the older books, they really did use a small font and put the sentences super close together. So every project's going to look different depending on what book you choose. So then you're just going to go through and you're going to cut out each of these sentences, but you're going to stop at that white part. Okay? So just cut them all out. Okay, so this is what you're left with. And sometimes you don't have a complete sentence, like this one just has one word on this line, and that's okay. It's not a problem. So this is what you have. Okay, so then you're going to do the same with your other book, and you're going to cut out some sentences, and it's a lot easier if you have them be stick out on either side, have them be wider than this. So I started cutting out a few of these earlier. I had some extra from when I was doing these earlier. Whoop, that's for something else. Okay, so these are a little wider. Yeah, so that'll work out fine. But I'm just going to cut out a few more just to show you what I did. Okay, I think that's enough. And now we just start weaving them. The first one is more difficult, I found, than the others because I came up with a little trick for all of the subsequent ones. But the first one, you just have to kind of try to finagle these little strips and just start your weaving. So lift up every other one. Okay, so there's my first one. And I'm going to pull it to the top. Okay, not quite all the way to the top for me, but you can do whatever you want now with these other strips. If you want them to look like a true, very neat weaving, and have the same amount of space in between every one like this, that's perfectly fine. I mistakenly did some crooked ones on here, and then I ended up liking more of the messy look, and I also like some of the cardstock showing, which is why I'm using green this time, because on the other ones I used black and I want to just try a different color. So just put them in however you want, and for now just stick them in. We're going to go in and finagle them and finalize them a little later. But the trick I found is use your cardstock, go like this, and use this to just kind of flip up every other one, and then you can go and just lay these down. Sorry, it's very hard for me with my carpal tunnel to pick up little tiny things, so bear with me. You'll probably be a little faster than I am. Ugh, come on, hands. Okay, so I have those in there, and I'm just going to let this drop. And then, very carefully, I'm going to put glue on here, on my cardstock. Let me get my other thing, because I don't like to get glue on my mat. I forgot, and I don't like that. Generous amount of glue, and then you're just going to move this onto that. Whoopsie. That's okay. And glue this section down. So make sure you don't glue this part. Just from the print, from the bottom of the print up gets glued down. Okay. It's usually a little easier if you just keep it. See, normally what I did is I had it on here and I just slid it up. But now that I went sideways and went across this, it kind of turned everything wonky. But if you just slide it up onto your cardstock, it's a lot easier. Okay. Don't worry about it too much at this point. Don't tap it down yet, because we have to do a little bit of finagling. That's just to kind of hold it down. I want to lift up the ones that I don't want glued down yet. These, just make sure they're not glued. Okay. Now I'm just going to go through and move these to where I think I want them. These got all messed up. Excellent. Now I'm using my little spatula that goes with my uh, Silhouette Cameo machine to help me pick these up. Just again because of my hands, but you don't have to do this. Whatever. If you can lift these up with your little fingers, you go for it. Okay. And now I'm just going to go through and make sure you get good glue coverage on each one of these and glue them down. Okay, once they're glued down, now is the point where you kind of want to flatten it out a little bit, tamp it all down. I found that once these dried, the some of them were coming up off the edges that I didn't get quite as much glue as I had. So you might have to go through and just glue down. Like this one's coming up just a little bit. You might have to see that. You might have to go through and just neaten it up a little bit and put a little more glue on. Just give it some final touches. And then normally I would let this dry, but for the sake of the class I'm going to go ahead and turn it over and trim it up. And now is the time when you want to go ahead and cut this part off. Whoops. That's kind of cool. I cut off a little bit too much of the tag, but I'm going to totally use that for something. That's kind of neat. It's like a word ladder. I like it. All right, then I have my Crop-A-Dile. I have the angle Crop-A-Dile. I like this one. I like this Crop-A-Dile a lot. And go ahead and, except it needs to be, I have stuff jam-packed in there. I need to clean this out. And then of course you can take your hole punch and punch a hole. And there you have it. I love these. Absolutely love these. And then like I showed you on this one, I just put a little embellishment and took a strip of muslin that I just tore. And you can ink it up if you want. Just use it like you would a regular tag. So you can put it in a belly band, you can just stick it in your journal anywhere. I could put it in there, little tuck spot. You can put it on with washi tape and have it be a flip. You can do this, you know, you can do whatever you want, whatever you normally use tags for. So, it's not a craft, I think, that you can sit there and crank out 20 of these real quickly, because there's a little bit of fine motor skills to be done here, and it tears easily, especially if you're using an older book page. But I really like the way they're turning out. This is the one we just made. So yeah, I hope that you try some of these and let me know down below if you like this project, or maybe you have a better way, an easier way of doing this, especially with swollen hands. And well, we're all living through some kind of challenging times right now, so I hope that this video finds you safe and that you're able to maintain your peace through this. So yeah, I appreciate you coming and doing a little craft with me during these quarantine times. Get into your craft rooms and be still and calm and do some creating, and it'll do you a world of good. So I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.